enter to win this Jeep. Click the link in the description below. Make sure you subscribe to the Quadratec YouTube channel. Hey, Rob here for Quadratec. Today we're going to be walking through the installation of a QuadraTop Adventure top for the 2010 and newer Jeep Wrangler JL Unlimited. The Adventure top is a complete replacement top, meaning it's the perfect solution if you've previously had a hard top installed on your Wrangler or maybe a factory style square back soft top and you're looking to change up the appearance of your Jeep to the more aggressive slant back style top. You'll want to make sure that you stick around to the end of this video because I'll be covering some of the options you have when it comes time to open up the Adventure top, giving you plenty of flexibility at how you keep you and your gear covered in your Jeep. The first step we need to do is go ahead and unpack everything. I like to work in a nice open area with plenty of room to lay out all of the components so you can not only familiarize yourself with where they're going to be installed, but ensure that you have everything needed to complete your installation. Whenever you're installing a new soft top, you want to make sure you're doing so on a warm day, outside in direct sunlight if possible. All that new material is going to be very tight, and by doing it in the direct sunlight on a warm day, it's going to help that material to relax so that you're not fighting it as you're stretching it over the frame. It's a great idea to lay the different pieces of soft top material and even the soft top windows out in the sun for a few hours before you begin your installation. Before we can begin installing the soft top onto the vehicle, we do have some minor assembly of our door surrounds required. So I've grabbed our driver's side rear door surround, both the upper and the lower portion of the surround. Now you can assure that you have the correct components here because the profiles of the vertical leg and the upper portion are going to match each other. Another way to ensure that you've got the correct matching components here is this kind of dog leg, this foot here on the vertical component is going to go in the same direction as this tailpiece here on the upper part of the door surround. I'm going to go ahead and turn them over so that we can get them assembled. Now, depending on how yours came out of the box, you may have your hardware located in a hardware bag, or it may already be pre-installed right here in the bottom of the upper portion of our door surround. We'll go ahead and just remove these two screws with our 4mm Allen wrench. Now, you do want to ensure that this seal stays seated correctly during the assembly of the two components. You're going to match the tab on the lower portion with the upper portion here, making sure that we're not pinching that seal in any way. And then we'll go ahead and get these two screws started into place. And then I'm just going to use my 4mm Allen head socket here to run these in. Now with the upper and lower portion assembled, before we can move on, you do want to ensure that all of the brackets that come pre-attached to your door surrounds are loose from the factory. Things like our clamps here that clamp the door surround to the sport bar. As you can see, they should all be loose. If we turn this surround over, if they are tight out of the box, just go ahead and grab that 4mm Allen wrench and just loosen all of these up just slightly. As you can see, there is a lot of movement in these brackets, and you want everything to be loose while we're completing the install so that you can get a good and proper fitment of the soft top on your Jeep. Now with these loosened, I'm going to go ahead and grab the forward portion of the door surround, ensure that all of those components are loose as well, and then we can move on to installing that onto the Jeep. A new soft top can have a lot of different parts and components to it. It's a good idea to familiarize yourself with all of those different pieces before you begin your install. Go ahead and lay everything out so you can take a good look at all of the different components to your soft top, as well as familiarize yourself with the instructions. This is also the perfect time to ensure that you're not missing any pieces before you begin your install. Now, the first piece of the door surround that we're going to install onto the Jeep are the front portions of the door surround. We can go ahead and line this up with our sport bar and the existing gaskets on your Jeep. Now you want to ensure that the front portion sits in this little cup of this gasket here and the rear portion in the B-pillar gasket. You want to make sure that none of these get folded over or pinched in any way because that will be a source of leaks from your soft top. So you want to just pay close attention that all the gaskets are where they should be, and then we can go ahead and grab two of the long threaded knobs to secure the door surround in place. Again, remember, we've got a lot of adjustment in all of our clamps here to allow for proper fitment of the door surround on your specific Jeep. Go ahead and get those knobs started up, and then we'll go ahead and tighten those all the way down. Well, moving on to the rear door surround, it's going to install just like that front door surround. Set this forward portion into this cup provided by the B-pillar gasket here, and then get everything roughly lined up. Now there is a locating pin on the bottom side of this vertical support leg that's going to fit right into our existing hole here on the body tub. But I actually find it easier if we kind of leave this vertical leg kicked out away from the body while we get our knobs started here through the sport bar clamps. If you worry about getting everything lined up perfectly, it can sometimes be pretty hard to get these screws threaded into place. So we'll go ahead and start by getting each one of these knobs threaded in loosely. We'll leave that loose, do the second screw, get that one started. Now we still have a lot of play here. Now we're going to pick up this rear leg, swing that into place until we feel it lock in with that hole on the body tub. Then we can come back and tighten down each of our door surround knobs. Now finally, the last thing to check here before we move on is to make sure that this gasket is over top of the gap between the front and the rear door surround. To make sure that it's seated in place, you're good to go. Now the last thing for us to do here on the rear of the driver's side of the vehicle is to get our rear corner mount installed right on top of the body tub here. It's going to go right over top of all of your existing weather seals. We'll simply line up this tab here with the hole in the body tub. You'll feel it kind of lock right into place. Grab one of the short threaded knobs and secure that into place. Just spin that right down, locking that mount to the top of your body tub. And then we can go ahead and repeat all those same steps for the door surrounds and rear corner mount over on the passenger side of the Jeep. A soft top as well as the frame can be large and awkward to handle by yourself. So having a friend around to help with your install can make it go that much smoother. Not only will it be much easier to lift that soft top and frame up onto your Jeep and back off if you need to, but having a second pair of hands around to help with different parts of the install is going to take a lot of the frustration out of installing your new soft top on your Wrangler. All right, at this point, we're ready to start attaching our soft top fabric here to the door surrounds. I've laid our soft top upside down on the back of our Jeep. We need to start by attaching this rear bow here to the brackets on the door surrounds. There's one on the driver and one on the passenger side. We're going to be using the short Allen head screws and lock nuts to hold it into place. I like to get started on one side here. Grab one of the screws, lift this bracket up into place, and then we're going to use one of the screws to just kind of hold it in position for us. Can loosely install one of the nuts on the bottom side. We can go over and do the same on the opposite side. And we can come back over, put the second screw into place. Put the nut on from the bottom side. And then we can get all four of these, two on each side, tightened up with our 4mm Allen wrench and a 10mm wrench holding that nut in place. With the rear bow secured, we can move on to installing center bow number 1 and number 2, two of the brackets on top of our door surrounds. Center bow number 1 is going to install here on top of the soundbar, while center bow 2 is going to install closer to over top of the back seat. Go ahead and grab those two bows, pull the plunger on the quick release attachment and slide it over top of the bracket, locking it into place. Once we have them on one side, you can move around and get them locked to the other side. At this point, it's a great time to go ahead and grab your 4mm Allen wrench and tighten down the bolts holding those brackets in place that we left loose earlier. This is so that we can get a perfect fitment of those bows to those brackets on top of the door surround. With those locked in, it's also a great time to come back and tighten the screws securing the clamps that hold the door surround to the sport bars as well. Now at this point, the instructions tell us to go ahead and fold the soft top fabric forward over top of the bows towards the front of the Jeep. But I'm going to do things just a little bit differently because I think it actually makes the install go a lot quicker and easier. I'm going to go ahead and remove our support bows from the door surrounds, and I'll show you why in just a moment. Here at the back of the Jeep, you can see that there are some pockets stitched to the underside of the soft top fabric with some hook and loop fasteners. Now you could simply fold the fabric forward over top of the support bows with them clamped into place on top of the door surrounds. And then you would sit in the Jeep and reach overhead and tuck all these flaps around those support bows. I think it's actually a lot easier if we do it here at the back of the Jeep, starting with the first pocket that we find, working our way back from that rear support bow. So this is going to be our number 2 bow, the rearmost bow here. If we grab that, we can drop it into place in this pocket. And I like to start kind of in the middle here, get our hook and loop fastener together, work the way to the outside, go back and forth until we got it all sealed up there. All right, with our number 2 bow secured, we can go ahead and work our way back down the soft top, which is actually moving towards the front of the soft top, to the second flap here for our number 1 support bow. And we're going to do the same thing. All right, with that number 1 bow now secured to the underside of the soft top fabric, you can see that that's probably a lot easier to do than when you're sitting in the Jeep trying to reach up on top of the sport bar, on top of the sound bar to get up in there and wrap those flaps around that center number 1 support bow. Now at this point, we can go ahead and start moving the fabric forward over the Jeep. As we come to our number 2 support bow first, we'll go ahead and clamp that back into the brackets. Then we get up to the number 1 bow, we'll do the same, clamping that into the brackets. And then finally, we can secure the 2 other brackets for the soft top header into the forwardmost brackets. Now, before we move on to attaching the forwardmost support bow to the brackets on the front door surrounds, we need to attach this spring attached to our tension cable here to this bracket on the rear door surround. Grab the spring, pull it back, and slip it right into the hole on that bracket. And then just do the same over on the passenger side. At this point, we're ready to go ahead and attach our front support bow attached to the header of the soft top to the forwardmost brackets here on the front door surround. Just go ahead and get it into location here and get that quick release bracket attached. Remember, these brackets are nice and loose for us. We'll do the one on the other side. And now with them both attached, we can grab that 4mm Allen wrench and go ahead and tighten these brackets into place. And at this point, we're ready to go ahead and grab the soft top header and flip it forward. We can move down in the Jeep and latch it into place. Now, before we close the windshield latches, if you come right here behind the B pillar, if you lift up on the edge of the soft top, you'll find a small square tab. This tab needs to be locked under this bracket on the top of the door surround. That's going to keep the edge of the soft top locked into this drip rail here. So go ahead and line the tab up, get it up under that bracket, push that bracket up under there, locking the edge of the soft top into the drip rail. Now the last step is to go ahead and close the latches to the brackets on the windshield frame. Grab the windshield latch, pull down, sliding the hook under the bracket on the frame, while holding the inner part of the latch, pull up on the outer, squeezing them together to close the latch. Just repeat the same steps for the other side. At this point, you've completed all of the installation steps for your QuadraTop Adventure top, and it can be run in this configuration, giving you shade for all the passengers in your Jeep as a sort of bimini or safari style top. From here, I'm going to show you how we can close out the soft top by installing the 3 rear windows. To get the rear quarter windows installed, we'll start by releasing the windshield latches up front and opening the front portion of the top to relieve some of the tension in here. It's just going to make it a lot easier for us to get the window started with the zipper. We can flip up this rear corner of the top, revealing the short portion of zipper hidden underneath. Go ahead, grab the window and align it and get the zipper started. And with the zipper fully closed, we can tuck this portion of the window up under the top, and then we're going to get this retainer tucked into the rail here on the door surround. With that in place, we can move on to tucking the same retainer into the belt rail channel on the body tub, all the way to the back corner. Then we'll wrap the rear window around the corner, again tucking that belt rail retainer into place. Finally, we can come back, tuck the upper flaps of the window down, securing the hook and loop fastener to the top edge of the window. All that's left to do now is to repeat the same steps over on the opposite side. Now with the 2/4 windows installed, you can drive around in this configuration, giving you plenty of airflow through the Jeep. We can also install the rear window when the weather changes and you're looking to fully close out your soft top. Now the first step we need to do is grab our rear window as well as the rear window retainer bar. We need to slide these two together. And to do that, you'll line up this channel that's sewn onto the bottom side of the window with the matching channel here on the bar. Go ahead and slide those two together. You want to do so that this rubber weather stripping is at the bottom edge of the window facing out. This is for your tailgate to close against that retainer bar. The next step we can do is to go ahead and slide the rear window into the channel sewn under the top rear flap of the soft top. Get that started the same way we did the retainer bar. Go ahead and slide the window all the way across, aligning it in the center of the soft top. Next, we can start the zippers on both sides of the window. Starting on the driver's side, get the window started at the top edge of the window and close the zipper about 6 inches. You'll want to stop here to leave plenty of slack to get the passenger side started. Doing the same thing on the passenger side, we'll get the zipper started and close it approximately 6 inches. Now with the zipper started on both sides, we can go ahead and roll the window retainer bar into the retainer bracket that we previously installed on the body tub. Align the bar with the bracket and roll it down into place. Then we can come back and fully close the zippers the rest of the way down the window on both sides, finishing up by rolling the flap on the quarter windows around and securing it to the hook and loop fastener on the rear window. Now with that, we've got the 3 rear windows installed, closing out the Jeep fully, keeping you, your passengers, and your gear protected from the elements all year long. At this point, why don't we go ahead and run through some of the options we have for opening up the top. One final tip for you, once you've completed the installation of your soft top on your Wrangler, you'll want to leave it in the closed position with all of the windows installed in the top for a couple of days. By doing so, it's going to help all that new material and especially the windows to slightly relax and stretch under the tension of being in that closed position. If you've got a garage where you normally keep your Jeep, you'll want to leave it parked outside during this time period, especially if you've got some nice, warm, sunny days. It's just going to help speed up the process of relaxing that fabric. The first option we have to open the top is to unlatch both latches on the windshield and flip the top back. This is going to open up the area over the driver and passenger seat. Now we can also fold back the center bow as we're opening the windshield header to open it up even farther over the driver and passenger seat. The third option we have is to unclip the header from the door surround, followed by the middle and rear support bows, and then reattach the header to the rearmost bracket over the rear seat. Now, this option is going to open up the soft top above not only your front seats, but also for your rear seat passengers as well. Now, if you want to get more information or to purchase a QuadraTop Adventure top for your 2018 or newer Jeep Wrangler JL Unlimited, you can click that info button to head over to Quadratec.com. Of course, if you have any comments or questions or need help installing your Adventure top, you can always do this for me down in the comment section below or contact us directly at any of the options on the screen. And as always, if you haven't already and you like these videos, do me a huge favor, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as the notification icon so be sure to catch all of our latest videos. Till next time, I'm Rob. I'll see you out on the trail.